cross-border trade to survive.
The unraveling crisis in Tanzania may have caught the world by surprise, but those watching closely, the signs were always there. A nationwide information lockdown gave a false impression of calm. Beneath the surface, tension has been building for months, if not years. How did it all come to this? Here's a story produced by Alex Kiarie and voiced by Rebecca Moiruri.
Tanzania is often viewed as the global home of Swahili language, with a group-oriented people who put the nation and each other's interests at heart. Now the unraveling political situation has not only shocked the region, but also the entire world. The deep political tremors that were largely ignored and stifled by the top leadership of the ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi are now boiling over. President Samia Suluhu Hassan is now living the infamy of having overseen the burning of the nation she mishandled.
As Africans, we have no choice but to seize the moment to capitalize on its potential.
She rose to the top seat in March 2021 after her predecessor John Pombe Magufuli died in office. Since then, Samia has sought to consolidate her grip on power. But this has come at the expense of respect for human rights. Her biggest critique, Tundu Lissu, is currently in jail. Another one, former Ambassador Humphrey Polepole, was abducted. Samia has also been accused of ensuring that the opposition thrives no more. Instead, she propped up weak candidates to simply rubber stamp a flawed process. While all indications showed that these elections would be different, the state might have underestimated the magnitude of the reaction from the public. Now, the world watches and draws parallels with Kenya's Gen Z protests, which Suluhu had frowned upon when they happened. Previous protests in Tanzania were largely confined in the rest of Zanzibar Island, which were often crushed by the power of the barrel. Issues began in 1995 in a general election that saw William Mkapa elected. CCM was competing with the Civic United Front candidate Saif Sharif Hamad, who narrowly lost to CCM and Mkapa's ally Salmin Amor. The violence that followed left dozens injured. Similar ugly scenes would later play out in the streets of Zanzibar in the aftermath of the 2000 polls. This time round, CUF's Ibrahim Lipumba was contesting what he termed as a stolen election. Mkapa, in his memoir, My Life, My Purpose, a Tanzanian president remembers, would describe the violence as a stain on his legacy. The election of Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete in 2005 was largely peaceful. His reign up to 2015 was viewed as the most peaceful, with locals enjoying some forms of democratic reforms and less military and police influence.
Kazi nzuri walioifanya ndio mafanikio tuliyoyapata. Kampeni zimekwenda vizuri. Ile tochi haiwaki.
However, the arrival of John Pombe Magufuli saw the nation make mixed steps.
Niwaombe ndugu zangu. Wanaume, hoi! Vijana, hoi!
Under his watch, Tanzania's economy grew by a margin. However, he emboldened the ruling CCM party, treating the opposition with iron fist. In the election of 2020 that saw him win a second term, opposition parties were barely visible. But the back and forth between him and his biggest critic, Tundu Antiphas Mugwai Lissu, saw Lissu almost lose his life after suffering multiple gunshot wounds. He was treated in Nairobi and Belgium. Lissu would remain in exile for several years until Magufuli's death in 2020. Tundu Lissu, who leads the Chadema party, is still a thorn in the flesh of the ruling party to date. He was recently charged with treason, hence barred from the polls.
The Labour Court has ended a long-running power